I think that it is somewhat important for us to discuss the elephant in the room, the proverbial room, on twitter.com. Those of you who follow some of the Chicago food accounts have seen some things going back to April saying that there's some turmoil in the clubhouse, going back to the doubleheader in Cleveland back in April, which, boy, amazing how this story drops as the team is getting on the plane to go back to the scene of the crime. And a piece from my boy, Bob Nightingale, #confirmed, stating that there is a lot of cliques and dissension and just not an overall harmonious atmosphere in the White Sox clubhouse at the moment. And that's obviously going to open itself up to a lot of fodder and a lot of discussion points within the fan base here. It really is fascinating just from the standpoint, everyone knows I like to make fun of Bob, and justifiably in a lot of cases, but he does have a track record of getting inside information as it relates to the White Sox more so than any other teams. And I will highlight one specific example. Late October of 2020, Rick Hahn is at the podium announcing the firing of Rick Renteria. Almost immediately, all of the national heavy-hitting baseball writers, your Ken Rosenthal's, your Jeff Passons, your John Morosi's of the world, are linking A.J. Hinch to the White Sox job. One person said the name Tony La Russa and was summarily laughed at. That person was Bob Nightingale. So for him to put a report out there today talking about some of the issues within the Sox clubhouse is, if nothing else, interesting. Whether it's factual or not, we're never really going to know because the White Sox keep things very closed. They're a very tight-knit group. But for this to come directly from Bob is interesting, if nothing else.
I think you set the tone here for this conversation very well there, Steve. Yeah, I mean, I have some thoughts on this. Obviously, this White Sox team has looked uninspired, I think, to say the least, throughout certain facets and aspects of the game, as well as over stretches. And I think that you can go and point some fingers to, like you said, the scene of the crime, the doubleheader that took place in Cleveland earlier this season. Now, again, to be a fly on the wall and actually know what happened there, it would be wonderful because we'd have more information on this. However, at the end of the day, I really think that if there are cliques, if there are problems within the White Sox clubhouse, if there are things that took place there, the roster construction looks a little different. I'm not pointing fingers here, but we do know that Dallas Keuchel was a very vocal person within that clubhouse. Don't know if that's anything to do with this situation at all. But he was a strong personality in there. You look at the play from some of your leaders, and he called out leaders when he wrote this. If you actually look at the statement that Bob Nightingale wrote, there was a questioning of lack of leadership. And it's something that we've talked about on this show numerous times, Steve, numerous times. Who do you as a White Sox fan look at to be the leaders in this White Sox clubhouse?
There are two guys specifically that I look to. Jose Abreu, obviously, is the leader amongst the Latin players in that clubhouse. They view him as a father figure. He is the most significant member of this team, not the longest tenured, but he is the most significant member of this team. And then on the other side of that, you have the more outspoken, flashier Tim Anderson. Those are the two guys that everyone really looks at as the heart and soul of this White Sox team as presently constructed.
So I'll kind of go from there, and you talk about veteran leadership. There were certain guys who were brought in here to be veteran leadership to kind of add to this. You saw a dust up between Lance Lynn and Joe McEwing earlier this season. I know he wasn't with the ball club for the full year. He's had his rehab stints, and he was injured to start the year. But I also look to Lance Lynn to kind of lead this thing. And it's really interesting when you take this into consideration, Steve, and I'll add another layer of complexity to this. Last year, there was an article, I believe it was from Scott Merkin, that said that Tony La Russa doesn't need to lead the clubhouse. He looks to his guys who are there to be the leaders. I'm not going full tinfoil hat theory here, Stephen, but on this note, if a manager is leaving the clubhouse to his players because he trusts that, those are the guys who are going to be on everybody else's back, get them to play the way that they should be playing each and every day. It was established last year, not this season, last season, that these are the guys who are your leaders. Now, leadership can change amongst groups of individuals and have changed for the course of human history at a fairly rapid pace. It's very intriguing to me, given the still shots of Abreu outside the clubhouse in the dugout. You've seen NBC Sportsnet's pregame show comment about it. We've talked about it on this show. Love seeing Jose being pissed off. Then you get Frank and Ozzy talking about, wow, why isn't he in the clubhouse dealing with these guys? You also have Tim Anderson, who's been in and out of the lineup, having a lot of rest days. There's something that I think could potentially be viable with this. It might have legs. Where I'm at with that right now is that shit needs to stop. It needs to stop now. The team needs to have fun. The team needs to be able to win ball games in order to have fun. Fix it on the field. The clubhouse will then become better. The results on the field haven't been fucking great. There's no way any of these guys entered spring training thinking that they would be in the position that they are right now. Whatever happened, it's time to bury the fucking hatchet and start winning ball games like you did today. It's very interesting this story came out after the White Sox won 2 games in a row, regardless of the opponent. But holy shit, it's time to fix whatever that is, because if it's even getting sniffed out in the national media, Steve, then there was a problem. Whatever that problem is, doesn't fucking matter right now. The goal is still the same. You have to win. You have to figure it out. And the best way to have fun is winning baseball games. Everybody needs to do their fucking job. From the manager, from the general manager, down to the right fielder, down to the guy on the bench, the guy coaching third base, first base, the trainers, everybody. It takes an organization that's in lockstep to do great things. If there's a problem with that, then we can start calling things into question. But right now, at this very moment, it's imperative that if there is any sort of cliques, leaders not getting along, any of that shit, it needs to stop immediately. And the best way to stop this is to start winning and taking joy in winning baseball games day in, day out. Every single time you go out on the field, you leave it there.